Hello YouTube! Hope you had a happy Christmas, got well into the new year, blah blah blah, all that jazz. I'm not really going to go into detail here because that's kind of Eric's area and I don't really have the time for that. I've got things to do and places to be, so let's get right down to the new topic. Okay, so I promised some of you last year that I'd do a video on gentlemanly behavior as by the way I see it. And I've thought a bit on how I do this. And in the end, I've decided on giving you an example by describing sort of a first date situation, okay? And I'm describing this from my point of view, the man's point of view. Okay, so I am a bit old-fashioned about things and how to treat women. And here's a few ground rules that I lay down for myself. Again, this is just for myself, and I grew up in a German culture, so things may be entirely different in your country. Don't be alienated by the way I behave, okay? Okay, so the ground rules toward the women first are you always show respect, independently of whom you're with. It's your responsibility to give the woman a sense of security, right? And this is mainly, you do this by protecting her from harm of any kind. It doesn't have to be bodily harm. It could be embarrassment or questioning or whatever. The rule is you're the man, you take the hit, the woman feels safe, okay? And I'll illustrate that. Okay, say you pick the girl up, whatever, at her house, and you go to dinner first, okay? So in my country, we've got right side traffic. We usually tend to walk on the right side of the road as well, okay? And in this, I, like 95% of the time, would walk on the left and the woman would walk on the right. Why, you may ask? Okay, I made a little primitive diagram here. If you can see this. So this is the road, right side traffic, okay? Here's the man, here's the woman. So he's walking on the left, she's walking on the right. Say there's a puddle here, right? And a car, inadvertently drives through, splashes the sidewalk or the pavement, whatever you call it in England. You protect the woman from getting dirty. It's you who takes the hit, right? Thereby she feels safe, even if it's totally unlikely. Or, it doesn't have to be semi driving off the road and running you over. It's just, you put yourself between the source of harm, the road, and the woman. That's it. That's just a way to make a woman feel more secure, okay? Okay, so you get to the restaurant. Now here's a first sort of source of debate. Holding the door open. I usually hold the door open for a woman, and in some cultures, like in England, people tend to hold the door open for each other, independent of gender, which I think is great, because it shows great sign of respect. It's like, no, you go through first. I don't have to be pushy and go through first. But I personally, and the Knigge, which is sort of like a German book that is supposedly about human behavior, says that there are a few instances that the man should go first. Usually it's if there's an open, crowded room full of strangers, and the door opens and they'll all turn and stare at you, the man should go first. He should be the source of starage, I guess. And then the woman enters second, right? Because if the woman would enter first, if you'd open the door, she enters first, everybody'd be staring at her and she'd be alone and possibly embarrassed by herself. So the way you do it is you enter first as a man, you take the hit, again, of embarrassment or whatever, maybe you're cool, and then when the woman joins you, you're already a couple, right? There's already two of you, so she's not alone in this with the starage. Again, maybe I'm overdoing it, but the thing is you want to give a general sense of security. Now then, when you get seated, you help her out of her coat, and I don't think I've ever seen a woman be unhappy about this. Obviously, if she is, don't do it. Don't push any of your rules on someone else. Like I said, the entire purpose of this thing is to give a sense of security to the woman, which should be man's responsibility. So help a woman out of her coat, offer it at least. If she says no, respect that. Helping her into her coat later on is also very respectful, and it's a bit trickier than you might think. Do it anyway. I've never seen a woman refuse this or be, embarrassed by this, it's not so easy. You know, you got to get the right grip, you got to get her arm into it, and then the critical part is to get the second arm in the second sleeve. It's okay. Practice makes perfect. Just keep on doing it. You'll get better at it. It's no problem. I'm sure it'll always be appreciated. Okay, so when you sit down to order food, here's what I'd usually do. And keep in mind, this is all first date material, right? Later on, you know, you already have an understanding. You can change a few of the rules. But this is sort of, if you're delving into unknown territory, gentlemanly behavior is what I usually go with. So what I do is you go through the menu. If you're clever, you chose a restaurant that you know. So you know what's good on the menu, you know the waiters, you know the service, you've booked a table if it was necessary, right? This is all your responsibility. Don't leave this up to the girl unless she explicitly wanted to. If it's unknown, you have to take the initiative, okay? So you maybe suggest something that's good, especially if she asks. If she orders something completely different, maybe just a salad and a Diet Coke, that's okay. Always respect that. Don't make fun of her or anything. That's uncool. And then when the waiter comes, you order for both of you. Okay, this is that's what I would do. And this is not only efficient, because it's, you know, easier that way if only one person orders, but if there's any questions or feedback or anything, again, it's you who takes the hit. You know, if the waiter's, well, no, sir, you don't know what that is, you know, you ask a question. If there's anything embarrassing, it's like, oh no, I'm sorry, I don't know what it means if a steak is English. You take the hit. Save the woman from embarrassment. Okay? Okay, conversation, blah, all that stuff. Here's a critical part. Who pays? Now, it used to be normal that the man pays, because he'd usually be the one who have more money. And I understand in some cultures, like in America, that's still the rule. Here in Germany, it's not so obvious, because women have more than enough money to pay for themselves now and pride themselves on it, so you can sometimes go wrong if you just pay. Okay, again, here, try and be a little elegant. I usually insist on paying on the first date. At least now I do. It takes a while to hone these rules. What I usually do is, at one point or another during a date or a dinner or whatever, a woman will have to get up and go to the restroom. I usually take this opportunity and pay for everything with the waiter while she's gone. You know, sort of just to avoid embarrassment or awkwardness or whatever. And then you have your conversation, and if it ever comes up, you know, she says, you know, oh, maybe it's time we should pay, then you can be like, oh, I've already taken care of the bill, it's no problem. And then if she insists, you know, and saying, oh, you know, you shouldn't have, I could have done it myself, don't slap it off as rudeness. Be cool and say something like, oh, you know what, you can pay for coffee later, or for ice cream, or you can pay for the second date. That's cool, you know. The thing is to avoid awkwardness, because I think it's sometimes awkward when the waiter comes and asks who pays, and then there's a sort of like stare. It's like, do we pay separately? Do we pay together? Who pays? You know, stuff like that. Even if you pay the bill then, it'll be kind of awkward. So, again, take the initiative if that's the case, but this way I think is a bit smoother. So you just, that's the way I do it. Okay, so this was sort of gentlemanly behavior from a Gaeri Summer point of view. This is how I do it. I'm interested for your feedback. Do you think some of this behavior is totally crap? Or do you have suggestions on how to improve things? Or I'd like to hear how you do this. If you're a man, how do you have any gentlemanly behavior you can identify yourself of toward a woman? If you're a woman, please, I'm always glad for feedback. Usually we discuss this with other men, because we're always, you know, looking for feedback, but we don't usually get any. If you think some of this behavior is outmoded or chauvinist, you're free to tell me so. In that case, please make suggestions for improvement. Also, this was just one situation of many. If there's other situations you'd like to ask about or you'd like to present, please do so as well. Feel free to use the newly repaired comment box below or post a video response. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that, and have a great start to the new year. Bye-bye.